What's up, babe, and everybody else? Welcome back to the Founder Academy. I am Mark, the FUT founder, and it is the last day of Team of the Season for La Liga. So it is Thursday. In the morning, the content just came out. Another error by EA, actually, as I was really excited for this Lamar because even though I got a bunch of left wings or left mids and stuff from La Liga, I was actually looking forward to Lamar, but he's a central card, and they didn't release him on time. So bunch of errors on that part, but it's okay. We're not too worried about that because we'll just stick with what we got. But yeah, a whole bunch of updates, guys. So this past week, I haven't been able to record because I've been catching up on my actual job. I have work to do. So now that I got a free second, I'm just going to do a quick little intro here. You guys are going to see kind of some of the updates that we have with the team. A bunch of stuff happened. So we had all of our tokens, our team of the season swap tokens or whatever. And we actually had a pretty decent little pack. We got Sergio Canales in there. And that kind of started this chain reaction throughout the course of the week where we didn't really end up picking up too much. I tried grinding away a whole bunch of the SBCs and stuff like that, like the player picks, which are not La Liga specific. That was annoying. And like the double La Liga stuff. But I have hardly packed any of the La Liga guys. They're just, I don't know what it is about this one. I've heard that the Bundesliga was really special, even though I didn't really care about the Bundesliga because a bunch of people were like packing a bunch of blues. La Liga, they've just been really stingy. And I guess it's just because like the chasm between like the really high rated and the low rated guys are like so great that you can't, they don't want you packing these guys. Like, I don't know anybody that like packs Vinny or like even João Felix, right? Like, you're not packing Vinny, you're not packing Pedri, you're not packing any of these big guys. Like, this is kind of par for the course at the EA over the last couple of years. They've just been really stingy with all that stuff. They don't really want you getting all those things. From what I understand, EA just really want you to grind out the game, trade a whole bunch of stuff, and then build up the coins to get those cards. They don't want you actually packing them. And I'm not saying they don't want you to get them, but they want you grinding the game, right? If you just got all these guys in packs right off the bat, you're probably not going to use them, which I think is counterintuitive. I think you actually would play more to use them, but I guess I kind of see their logic in there a little bit. I'm not defending EA, just so you guys know, because I know a lot of people like to jump on EA's back. I'm not defending them, but I kind of get their point of wanting people back on the game. It's like when you're on Instagram and stuff and they keep serving you a bunch of push alerts. Hey, did you see this? Or we recommend you check out this thing. And next thing you know, you're in the app. So that's basically what EA want to do. They want to have you grinding all these little things. That's why the content's a lot more regular. They're trying to do as much as they can to get you back on the game. And I mean, I hate to admit this, but to a certain degree, it's working, right? I'm coming on the game a lot more than I used to, just like checking out this content. I've said this for years that this game has really just become a card collecting game. It's not really great gameplay, and we'll get into all of that. I actually have a couple questions from some of my video comments, which I appreciate you guys all leaving comments. Leave comments down below, by the way, or any questions you guys have, so we'll address some of those because, like I said, I always like to address people's comments and questions that they have. We'll do that in the live portion here. There's just so much going on. I just want to catch people up. So we did our FUT Team of the Season swaps. I keep calling them FUT swaps, but Team of the Season swaps. We got Canales, a couple other guys. We did the Isco SBC just because we had some fodder sitting in the club. And the Isco, I kind of wanted. He's okay. He's not too bad. He is what he is. He's small in stature. He's, a decent little player. But look, there's better cards out there. If you can grind him like I did, I just think he's a decent little SBC to do. We ended up doing the Jesus Navas. So we got the Jesus Navas objective done. I've actually ended up playing a lot more offline stuff because I'm trying to get the icon swaps and all these objectives and stuff done. And there haven't really been too many like online objectives that I really want to play. Also, just like I haven't been in the mood to play online. Offline sucks. Like, look, I'm the first person to admit that, but I find it less stressful. It's just annoying to play, right? It's crappy, right? So I get it. Like, I don't really encourage people to play offline. It's just, I can go on here, very mind-numbingly collect cards, and I guess that's sad, but that's really what this game has become, right? It's just a card collecting game. So we ended up doing the Pedrinho because I had a duplicate Munain. So we did the Pedrinho because I needed to build Liga NOS, I guess it's called, the Liga NOS team in order to do the last icon swap. And you guys will see what we did with the icon swaps. If I didn't already open the icon swaps, I can't even remember. And then this came up, this Rivals reward changes, just because some people like ask me, like, what do you think of the new changes? I don't really think much of this. I just put it in there just as a little reminder to myself to make a comment on it. I don't think there's really too much different. I'm not going to grind Rivals at this stage in FIFA, but I guess it's okay that you could technically pack a Team of the Season. But like, look, they're going to be filled with Team of the Week cards. So like, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Plus, you really essentially have to be in the Elite Division in order to get them. Well, so I don't really want to play Elite generation just because it's so tedious. But if you are, credit to you, right? Like Elite Division is really as good as Division 2, Division 3 at this stage. Like all these good players are in these high divisions. Some drop in, some drop out, or some move up, some drop down. It's all super spammy at this stage in FIFA anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. At least you get some rewards, is what I think. Then we did our guaranteed team of the season. I always kind of pack mid-tier guys with this. I'm like, knock on wood, but I didn't pack Thomas or any of like the low-level guys. But I never pack any of the high-rated guys. I always kind of pack guys in the middle. David Alaba I was really happy with just because I already had him tradable, or not tradable, but I bought him, so he is tradable. So it's essentially a free 170k. I just sold mine right back, as you guys saw there. I just put him back out, and then now I have an untradeable version. But the problem is I got the morale back up for my David Alaba one, so now I have to play 4 or 5 games to get this one to a playable state, which, you know, you guys that are familiar with the channel know why. We did the 81 plus times 7. I didn't get anything good in that. We got a Aubameyang and a bunch of garbage, as you guys can see here. Not garbage, but like David Silva is like the second best player, a couple 85s. And then a bunch of these guys you're going to pack about 1,000 times in player picks and double 80 plus SBCs and stuff like this. All this low-rated La Liga stuff, I've seen these guys like Longley, I think I've seen about 15 times this week. And I'm not even really doing a whole lot. I'm just kind of going on, getting the daily content, doing a couple of the SBCs, and then poof, I'm gone. Like, I'm not really doing a whole lot, but that is what it is. Then we did our, we did our 2 icon swaps. So that's what we did with our icon swaps with the La Liga NOS. First owners got 2 of them, and we ended up packing this guy, Fakir. I know a lot of people would be excited about it. I'm not complaining. He's a good card, but I'm just not going to end up using him. I kind of played with him a little bit to get his morale back up offline, and he was okay. He started playing a little bit better, and I could see why people like him, but I think he was just like a novelty early on in the game. I'm not super excited about it. But we got a lot of really good low-rated fodder, which we can just dump into some SBCs and stuff later. But yeah, I mean, icon swaps are just kind of like free jumbo packs with actual decent cards in them, and you might get someone good. So unless you want to get like, I don't know, Lothar Matthäus, or if you were grinding out that Hullet, which you guys know we gave up a long time ago, I think there's some really good packs to be had with icon swaps. Because you get fodder, and I can use the fodder to build guys like this. Even though I'm not a huge Iago Aspas fan, I packed him last year when he was in the team of the season. This year he was in SBC. We just used all our fodder. So that's pretty much all the updates, guys. Let's get into some live gameplay. We'll jump into one game. You guys will see me. You'll watch me play it live. Hopefully we don't get battered like last time. And I'll address a couple of those questions that you guys had. So let's jump into that. All right, guys. So this is going to be the live portion of the video. We'll end up playing a game. I just want to give you guys a quick look at kind of what we're looking at. Also, I want to address some of the questions that I mentioned there before. So in terms of the store, these 2 packs, these are just for tomorrow for their Liga specific. I don't expect to pack anything in the... Wow, this is really taking a long time. Holy, that was the longest I've ever seen the store take to load. Premium Players Pack won't get anything. 15 Liga. Maybe we'll get 1 blue, but I don't expect anything. The Liga is going to be like as bad as La Liga in my opinion. You got Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. Those are the big 3. And then Marquinhos is kind of in that mid-range. You might have 1 or 2 other guys, but I expect a lot of people to get some of the low-rated stuff. So the guaranteed La Liga player that comes out on Wednesday next week, like, don't expect to get any of those big guys. I'm not trying to sound negative here. It's just don't expect to get them. By the way, shout outs to WCW. I forgot about this shirt, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I gotta wear that. I really miss the Monday Night Wars. I know that's like super nerdy to say, but like I love WCW back in the day. It was so good. So my Jerichoholic shirt, you know, awesome shirt. Shout out to Babe for that one. She actually ended up getting this for me as a gift. So love this shirt. Super comfy too. Anyway, so yeah, before we kind of jump into all that, I just wanted to address a couple questions here. Where are we? There's a really long one there. Football Fum, he was commenting on a previous video, so I just wanted to kind of get this as a follow-up. With your background, though, you should be able to oh, no, that's not the one I want. Here we are. Okay, so well explained. He referring to the morale that we answered his question in the last video in terms of morale on individual cards. Afterthought. I've often thought that the 10-match loyalty triggers something else, like the card now plays worse, etc. Is it downgraded? Any thoughts? I think it is because many players on the EA forum say my new card is suddenly turned to swear word. Another question, do you think FIFA 23 will be the same? So really quickly we'll address this. So Individual cards, I don't think the 10 match does anything. The only thing the 10 match does is if you're on 9 chem or if you're on 7 chem, the 10 match gives you an extra chemistry point. Chemistry points aren't like super relative. Like the card doesn't really do a whole lot, but let's take I'll give you an example. Let's say we swap these two, right? So now he's on 5, 6 chem. They're just, their boosts aren't as big, right? So instead of it being like, he's got a shadow, so instead of his acceleration being plus 10 and the sprint speed being plus 10, it's just plus 4. But for some cards, that would still be really quick. He's still going to have 90 sprint speed and 98 acceleration. So it's still a really, really good stat for that card. It's just they don't get as much boost as some of the other cards. So I don't think they're necessarily worse. I don't believe cards get downgraded. A lot of these people have these conspiracy theories where they just go, oh, you nerfed this card. I really don't think that exists. I think that's really ridiculous. I just think that the power curve changes. So, for example, a lot of people were saying Henrik Mkhitaryan's card got nerfed by EA. It's not that he got nerfed. It's just everybody else's cards got better, right? So, like, look at this backline. So, a couple months ago, when Mkhitaryan comes out, he's playing against, like, 85, 86 rated guys, 83, 84 rated defenders, whatever. Now he's got an 88 pace center back with a shadow on him and a 91 pace shadow who's basically 99. It's just the rest of the cards make that Mkhitaryan feel nerfed because the rest of them caught up, if not exceeded that card. So that's my feeling on that. So I don't really believe that any cards get nerfed. I just think it's misinformation that's being spread and causing people to get confused. And then the other question is, do you think FIFA 23 will be the same? Look, as long as they have this Frostbite engine, this game is going to be the same because they're taking the code, pasting it, stamping FIFA 23 on it, and then just tweaking it. So morale, for example, has been in the game for years. It's been in the game because they haven't touched it. I don't know if it's, again, they don't know what they're doing, or if it's just an accident, or if they're doing it on purpose because they just want to create like more parity or less parity between players, and they want to like create a little bit more of a, I don't, like, there's no real reason for it, just other than maybe they potentially would want to add another factor in, so it just makes people like some good, some bad, some, like it creates more difference. But I don't think it should be like that, right? I've always used the chess analogy. It's like if you're playing and you're beating your opponent, and then all of a sudden he just hits a switch and all of his pawns turn into queens, and now you're playing against a bunch of queens and you're just trying to avoid them all. That's basically what EA has. I just think it's lazy coding by junior programmers that don't really know what they're doing, but EA is like that. They hire, I don't want to say they hire bad employees because I don't think they're bad, but I think they're under a lot of stress and timelines. It's very aggressive to get a game out every single year, and there's just a lot of lazy coding that just goes by the wayside. I don't think they take their sweet time really making a good game. I think it's just rushed out. And then they're just releasing cards. They're putting all their time and attention to new features to try to get people excited over, the journey mode and Volta and all these other game modes. They spend all this time getting all these new hooks to get you to buy a new game, whereas things like morale and all these like little tweaks that would just make the gameplay better, they ignore because they're just like, oh, who cares about that? That's really my opinion on it. And then the other question I wanted to address is one from Sebastian Castaneras, so apologies if I butchered your name, Sebastian. And he says, sorry, this is going to be a long-winded one. So, hello man, just found your channel, was looking for something explaining handicap and scripting because I'm also a FUT player, and I bumped into your videos, or a video of yours called FIFA Handicap Explained, a video from 2 years ago. Then YouTube recommended this one. Sorry to say this, man, but what happened to you? Question mark. At first, I suppose you were a voice here that spoke truth about what the game does to us handicap wise, and now I see you talk about player cards 2 years later. It's worthless to improve your team while handicap exists. The only way to enjoy this game is to play offline or just the first 2 weeks online. All talk about player cards only makes new players want to play them, but believe me, I have 92 rated team with Maradona 95, Lewandowski team of the year 98, and the truth is that my team played better with rare gold from the first week I played in FIFA 22. That's a fact. Interesting one. I had to put my controller down because there's so much going on in that question. So I appreciate the question, Sebastian. Hopefully you're a subscriber to the channel. So I appreciate just all the support and all the, just you coming in and even leaving a question. I don't take any offense to saying like what happened to you. It's like, I don't get mad at that. Here's the reality to first address your question in terms of like what happened to me. Nothing really changed. I just don't want my video, or I don't want my channel to be a handicap channel, a handicap morale channel. Like I talk about it pretty much every video because it's so prevalent in the game. But I don't want my channel to just be that because I'm explaining the same things over and over, and people get people find that handicap video, which I'm very proud of. It's got the most views on my channel, but it continues to be like the most prominent one that gets surfaced to people. They find it and then they come in and they just go, how come you're not talking about this anymore? And it's like, I can't just keep talking about handicap in FIFA. I've explained this so many times, and this is not your fault. This is just my explanation of this. I don't really believe in necessarily like a handicap. My personal belief is that handicap and nerfing high rated cards used to exist in older FIFAs, because older FIFAs, special cards were getting nerfed. They weren't properly getting their boost. EA addressed this a couple years ago, and they just kind of snuck it in patch update when someone came from the community, put it all over the internet, and only when you really come after them, that's when they'll actually make any change. But right now, there's no change happening because people are just going on, they're continuing to pay, they continue to put money into the game, they're playing games, and nothing's really a problem. But when people were coming out and saying, hey, this is fraudulent, and they started attacking them, that's when they kind of slipped in this patch update and address like high rated cards. So I don't think the concept of handicap really exists anymore. I think that was in older games, because like if I had this 97 Luka Modric, for example, he would have been playing like a base Modric on 6 chem or something like that. That's why special cards felt nerfed and people were using the term handicap. When they addressed that, and they just, like I said, they just slipped out a patch update. They didn't say anything because they didn't want people yelling at them. They just kind of slipped it out, and they're just like, okay, now everything's fine. Don't worry about it now. They just slipped that out, and everything was gravy because they just put out a promo, and everyone just went, oh, cool, all these new cards and a shiny new toy, and they just started playing again. So handicap was a term that just got ingrained in people's brains, continued to float around the internet, and they just kept complaining about it. So they're just like, handicap still exists, handicap still exists. The reason I put handicap, to be totally honest with you, on that video title was 2 years ago. I wasn't really as like involved in kind of doing this, and I guess this channel helped me do that, but like involved in kind of understanding how the players are getting manipulated in game. And I really did believe that handicap was still possibly existing on high rated cards, but now that I really think about it now, I don't think handicap necessarily exists to a certain degree. Now, I know people are going to be like, it does exist, but we'll get to that in a second. Handicap as a term was high rated cards getting nerfed. That's where the term originally came from on old FIFAs. And I think that's been addressed personally, because I don't think high rated cards really get nerfed for being high rated. I think it was just a bug in the game where they weren't getting their proper boost. So they were losing to like base golds and silvers and stuff like that. So that's why those cards, people look back and they just go, oh, remember silvers in FIFA 12 and 14? It's because the high rated cards were getting nerfed because they weren't properly getting their boost. So that was what handicap was. I am a believer that morale is in the game, right? And I've said this on pretty much every video I've ever made because it constantly comes up. But what morale is essentially, it's the old concept that was on old cards, and then because they're continuing to use the same game engine, like to FIFA Fums or Football Fums question earlier, it's just the same game getting ported over every year. It's the old coding that continues to carry on in the game. So the old morale engine is still on these cards. So when you get a new card, like for example this Luka Modric, when I first got him, he played like crap. He'll do extra animations, he'll stutter on the ball will get caught in his feet, he won't have his physical traits. Like it's almost like a player playing on really low chemistry or really low, like they're almost getting nerfed, and it takes 3 or 4 wins, which is why I always say go offline, get your 3 or 4 wins or your 5 wins, because they default to 80. That's what they default. The morale defaults to 80. That's what happened on old cards, and it's still in there. It's just you can't see it. So you have to just crush the computer a couple times. You can do it online, but you're doing it with a card that's only playing to 80% of its ability is the best way of looking at it. And you can't really use a card that's on 80% ability because it'll really get exposed. So if I just picked up one new card, like let's say this David Alaba, you guys saw in the last part there, I had built this team, I bought some of these cards, played offline, all of them were on 99, and then I ended up packing David Alaba. So that's a new Alaba card coming in, and I had to sell my old one. So the old one that had like 99 morale, I sold that. This one is on 80, so he will right now play worse than the other cards. I think I actually played 1 or 2 games with this one. There you go, I played 2 games. But in theory, he plays worse than Acuna, because Acuna's got those 3 wins. Koundé's got those 3 wins. Courtois got those 3 wins. So earlier when you were, or I think it was the other comment, like, oh, my new card plays like crap. The reason those new cards play like crap is because they are playing like crap, because they're defaulting to 80, and you have to win with them in order for those individual cards to get their morale back up. It's associated with the individual card. So again, that's really, really long-winded version. In terms of like my channel, I just don't want to like do this in every single video, right? So hopefully that addresses that. I don't want every single video to be explaining handicap. The people that are loyal viewers to the channel, I promise I'll try not to address this in every single one. I plan on eventually making a morale video. I've got so many clips on it, and I'll just make that dedicated. And if anyone comments like this in the future, I'll just say, check out this video. The other part of your question there in terms of like handicap explained, to be honest with you, one of the other reasons I named it handicap was because people search handicap. They don't believe morale is in the game. So calling it handicap, I'll probably have to put that on the new video too. But I'll have to say morale in FIFA, handicap explained part 2 or something like that, right? Because that is how people search for it on YouTube. In terms of like where the channel is at now, like I said, I just can't do that in every single video. I don't want this to be like a FIFA handicap or a FIFA morale channel. I want to make new content. I also want to enjoy this game, and I apologize if like finding new cards or talking about new cards is like against what you'd like to see, but you know, I can't make my whole channel just continuously answering the same question because people aren't going to want to see that. They want to see new content. And really the only thing in this game that's new every week is new cards, right? So anyway, let's go into a game. Hopefully that addresses that. This is the squad that we're using. I think most of these guys are at least in a playable state. This backline might suffer a little bit. That's not an excuse if I lose. I'll come up against a good opponent. But look, I'm still kind of working their way back up in terms of getting them very playable. Zaha's fine. Banega's been good, but he was just too hard to link. And Timber, I put in here instead of like a Rojo, just because Timber can play on a wing-back position as well as a center-back position. And then we've got all these guys that are they're just sitting there for novelty purposes. The reason I put these bronze benches, these bronze bench players is because, look, to be honest with you, it makes my team rating 90, because if I did this, it goes up to 191. And the higher your team is rated in terms of their overall, you match up against other teams that are that highly rated. So if I made a team that was like all the highest rated cards on the bench, my team rating would be 193. So I'm going to come up against the Hullets and Ronaldos, and I don't know if that's a coward move or whatever. You can call it whatever you want, but like, look, the reality is I can only make 3 subs, so there's no point in me having more than 3 cards on my bench. I might as well bring the rating down just so I can come up against teams that are kind of very similar to mine, right? I don't really necessarily want to play against the best single team every single time because it will just get frustrating. So I might as well play against somebody that is the same rating as me. So let's jump into a game. I haven't played a Rivals game in ages, so let's see how we do here. This video will probably be a little bit longer just because it took a little bit longer for me to answer that question, so I apologize for those of you that are kind of sticking through this. I can't play. The reason I have to play Rivals is I can't play FUT Champs because my FUT Champs qualifying is already done. So there's nothing else I can really do at this stage. I can't go into it because it just says you have to wait for FUT Champs to open in 2 days or whatever it is. So let's see how this guy's team matches up. Munayin's actually an interesting card. He's been pretty fun to use, although he's probably like the weakest link on my team. So that's why I have Zaha out there. There you go. Wow, Ronaldo, man. All these guys getting Ronaldo. Decent little team. Excellent backline. Let's get into it. Marcus Rashford, center mid. Oh, I guess he's going to bring Witsel down. And to be honest with you, that Sergio Canales is a really good card. I just can't use him. All right. This might end up just being kind of highlights. Whoops. Oh, there you go. Very weak. I mean, poor on my part. There you go. Read that. This is also the first game I played in ages. Oop. Offside. Ooh. I highly recommend David Alaba, by the way. Like, he's probably the most well-rounded center back in the entire game. I know he's not going to be big and strong, but he is so well-rounded. He's like a midfielder that can play center back. time. Lionel. Whoa. Whoa, did you see that guy warp? See? Look at David Alaba. He's so good. I highly recommend him. Like, he's just going to be the best. If you have a La Liga team and you can fit him in, he will be awesome to use. Not what I wanted. Goal time. Yeah, you can pretty much predict these goals almost like immediately. FIFA's very formulaic in that sense. This guy's out of here. Well, I mean, that was fun while it lasted. There you go. Okay, so a quick game, but I mean, that is what it is, right? Unfortunately, it didn't last as much, but I guess from a timing standpoint, it's probably going to be what we needed, just because this video, like I said, is going to run a little bit long. It's the first Rivals game I played in ages. But yeah, I need to get back on. This weekend, I plan on playing those FUT Champs games, just because I haven't been able to play FUT Champs in the last 3 weeks, and I think it would be fun to do, right? I want to see if I can get any of those Liga cards, but I'm hopefully going to be able to put out some more content. I apologize, it's been a little inconsistent over the last couple of weeks, but I've just been traveling, spending time with family and Babe, right? So she also started a new TikTok, which we need to promote here. You guys will love her content. Babe is phenomenal. I love her very much, and she's just she jumps on me about all the FIFA stuff. So she actually made a FIFA related TikTok, which once it develops a little bit more, I'll give you guys the handle for it, and you guys need to follow her on TikTok. But that is going to be the end of the video, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me to the very end, and until next time, take care. Peace.